Welcome to Paradigm Shifters, everyone. My name is Veronica Entwistle, and I'm very excited to bring you people who are making a difference on the planet, usually very conscious people. They could be any kind of situation from inventors to artists to singers, but we have somebody different today. This is somebody who's working with apps, being the artist of the apps. And I'm not very good at working with apps myself yet, but Jarl Forsman, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I'm very excited about what you're doing. You and two other people have developed an app that is bringing us tell me if I've got this all right, because I know there's so much more that I'm thinking of in this moment. But the option of tuning into consciousness through an app on a number of different levels, including the people that they'll find there. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. Yes. It's an app that's designed to help evolve your consciousness or the consciousness of the reader. And it was designed by Jim Justice and with the help of my husband and I, Steve Secone and me. And we're very excited about it.
Well, I'm excited about it as well because a lot of us, the world is sort of distracting, eh? And so you're saying you can sort of punch it up and bring up somebody who's going to inspire you at any given time. Don't you and your husband do a gratitude app already, a gratitude program?
Yeah, we have a website from which we send out daily messages called Gratitude 24/7. And
Okay.
we've been doing that for 8 years, every day for 8 years.
Wow.
And yeah, just about a year ago, our friend and neighbor who reads our daily messages came up with an idea of designing an app. He had some ideas that he thought would enhance our our messages, and so we loved his ideas, and he started designing the app. He's actually the designer and the creator of the method, the Vibe method.
And that's Jim Justice, eh?
Jim Justice, yes,
Hmm.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
And your husband, I was reading about both of you. You've done a lot of Tai Chi and Qigong, right? But
yeah. I've been doing it.
go,
Go
go.
ahead.
Well, you and your husband both have a very long history in the meditation worlds and the worlds of consciousness, do you not?
That's true. Yes, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I started Tai Chi when I was 21, and after about 8 years of doing Tai Chi, very interesting things started happening that I couldn't explain, and it just made me very interested in what's actually going on underneath and what appears, the appearance of things. And so I I just became passionate about looking for the truth, exploring what's actually what's going on, here. And I started meditating and that's all right, meditating along with the Tai Chi, different various forms, and doing self inquiry work um, and my husband also, he's had a long history of meditation and self inquiry work, and that's what, when we got together, that was our main reason for um, getting together. Was that we had a very similar consciousness and interest in how the mind works, and so we started writing about it, and that's how this whole thing came about.
So together, you put your heads together to do this daily presentation for people, eh? It's actually
Yeah,
inspirational.
it all. Pardon.
It's inspirational, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, it's definitely each post is meant to spark, you know, personal inquiry in the reader, so that they, investigate what's going on in their lives and try to figure out. We offer guidance basically for looking at. at what's causing others, their lives to be the way they are.
So tell me, I'm going to jump around just for a minute because I'm absolutely
That's
fascinated
good.
about Qigong. I just started doing it.
Yeah.
But
Oh, great.
one of the things that I like to work with in my work is energy. And I noticed, like, I was very excited to talk to you because you said after doing Qigong and Tai Chi for a certain period of time, you noticed you noticed big differences in your life and your consciousness. And my excitement is partly that as you, with your consciousness, work with this app and create these inspirational messages on a daily basis, people feel the energy that you're putting through, don't they?
Well, I hope so.
Oh, I'm really excited about it. I know they do. I know we will, that we do.
Yeah, well, that's the feedback that we get too. So yes, I'd say that's probably true.
And I'm excited about it because years ago, and I wrote to your promoter that one of the things that I'm excited about is I started doing radio years ago because I wanted to be a part of sending energy out there into the world because it lifts so many people. And now you're doing it
Hmm.
through the phone and you're doing it with such variation that people can choose out of the kinds of presentations you do, can they not?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. When I started, after doing Tai Chi and Qigong for many years, I started to notice my intuition just really awakening, and I was knowing things that there was no answer, no obvious reason how I knew that, and those were the kind of really interesting things that started happening after doing qigong. Besides, it's just very good for your health, So when you're healthy, that also helps with the way you see life and experience life.
Well, I'm
So
just really excited about it. So talk
yeah,
about
I'm
more of
really
it.
glad
Yeah.
you're doing it.
Yeah, I am too.
Well,
And go ahead.
yeah. Well, Qigong is based in Chinese medicine. It's one of the 5 branches of traditional Chinese medicine. And just like acupuncture, you probably know how that works. There are meridians in the body and lines of energy that run through those meridians. And each meridian um, corresponds with an organ. And so as you do, in acupuncture, when you needle points on the meridian, it stimulates qi flow to the organs. And according to Chinese medicine, blocked energy is the cause of most diseases. So Qigong is our movements and with breath patterns to stimulate qi flow. It's more of a general thing, whereas acupuncture is very specific. So it's a general way of keeping your energy flowing in a balanced way, both the yin and the yang of your energy flowing in a balanced way
And what's the
to
difference
the
between Tai
organs.
Chi and Qigong?
Well, Tai Chi is a form of Qigong. It's a martial art, actually. It's kind of threefold. It's a meditation and a martial art, and well, the third one's just slipped my mind.
Well, when you're talking about it,
It's
though, you're talking about how the energy flows go through better and
oh
better the
yeah,
more
a
you.
healing art. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's a healing art. Tai Chi is for healing, for martial art, and for meditation. So it's under the Qigong is the main category, and Tai Chi is a form of Qigong.
Oh, okay. It's like
Yeah,
the mother is Qigong.
exactly. And there's thousands of types of Qigong. There's lying down Qigong, sitting Qigong, standing still Qigong, moving Qigong. So
It's really interesting because
and
I
there's,
was thinking, I'll betcha if with an app you could even do Qigong or Tai Chi in your mind with it. Is that right?
well, well,
It's an
that's
experiment, right?
interesting. I'm sure you could.
I'm just thinking that it gets the energy flowing, and
Oh
Uh,
yeah, well if you visualize, you can also just visualize yourself doing Tai Chi or Qigong, and studies have shown that it actually does move the flow.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, it's very cool. I've been doing it all of my adult life, and I can't even imagine what it would be like not having this in my life. You know.
I love the idea here that you got up early and watched the sun come up with your Tai Chi master. You were really keen, weren't you?
Yeah, yeah, and I was young at the time, so it I think it was thanks to my Tai Chi master. He was an 83-year-old man who just had the most wonderful spirit, and he was so vital and alive, and I just wanted to be like him. And I went every morning to Chinatown in San Francisco to be with him at 5:30. And in order to study with him, you had to get up early and go at that time. But I did it 7 days a week.
Wow.
If I didn't, he'd be calling me on the phone, and he didn't speak English. He would just rant in Chinese until I could understand.
Wow, isn't that wonderful? And so,
Yeah, it was a
what did you study in college? You weren't studying. You did study Tai Chi in college, it says, right?
well. Um, that was just a side thing. I just happened to find it in college, as an extension course. But I studied English literature and sociology. I had a double major.
Oh, nice.
But I have to say that my English literature was the American Romantic period with Emerson that first awakened my spiritual interest. And his theory of the oversoul just sounded fascinating to me, and sounded so right. It just
And who
resonated with
was
me.
that? The phone kind of did a jump there.
Oh, Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and so your studies took you right into spirituality, even though it was literature. I love it.
Yeah, I didn't actually realize it. I was just I I just really deeply resonated with him, and it had a big impact. And then I started Tai Chi, not for any kind of spiritual reasons, but mainly, I'll tell you the truth, my boyfriend was doing it, and
Oh.
I did it. I joined him. He dropped out, and I continued on. but um, but I didn't actually do that for any kind of awakening purposes or spiritual reasons. I did it just because I really liked movement, body movement. And it wasn't until after I'd been doing it for several years, and these interesting things started happening, that kind of magical things started happening to me that I just couldn't explain, and it just piqued my interest so much. I just wanted to really explore that. That became my life purpose, to explore what's really going on. Uh, what's the nature of reality, and what's it all about?
So tell us about meeting Steve.
Well,
Or is
let's
that too
see.
private?
I
Here I'm
no.
peering into
Steve
your
and
interesting life, right?
I love it. I love talking about how I met Steve. I met him 20 years ago, and I had been married to to somebody else, to a jazz musician, and had a daughter. And after 18 years of being married, he was a touring musician, and he actually wanted to just he wanted his freedom. So I realized at the time, even though I didn't really want to break up my family, I realized that loving him meant setting him free and letting him just actually go have his freedom. And so, in spite of the fact that I really, because my parents had gotten divorced, I really did. I wanted to keep my family together, but letting go, and letting go was the best thing I ever did in my life, because I realized how actually mismatched we were, in some ways. We are very well matched in other ways. But anyway, it was the letting go that was such
And
it's a
isn't that
wonderful
isn't
thing in a
that kind
way.
of one of the keys to spiritual growth is unattachment or releasing attachments, letting go.
Right, yeah, letting go, yeah.
So,
And it was such a profound experience for me, even though I read about it, how important it is to let go. But letting go really did. It was so hard for me to do, and it was kind of like I had to surrender to. Literally, I had to surrender to the universe to help me through it in a way. And that surrender was such an amazing experience, because when I did, I just sort of, literally threw my arms up in the air and said, "Universe, put me where I'm supposed to be." And what happened after that was like I was sent down this beautiful river flowing effortlessly, and it was amazing. And at the time I was teaching Tai Chi at Jerry Brown's We the People. I know you
oh
don't live
right,
in the state, but do you know who Jerry Brown is?
I sure do. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, he's the governor of
Governor
our
of
state now,
California,
and yeah,
who
had
used to
been
be a real
governor. And
peacenik, didn't he? He used to be a really strong peace person.
well, yeah, he's he's definitely a force, an amazing one. He's a great man. I love him.
Okay, good.
And so through Tai Chi, I was his Tai Chi teacher, and through that, he also had a organization called We the People. He was actually a retired um, politician at the time, and he thought he'd gotten out of politics, and he had a radio show, and he was just doing grassroots work, in Oakland, and doing a lot of spiritual. He would interview a lot of spiritual people like the Dalai Lama and Thich Nhat Hanh, and he had this auditorium where people would come and do workshops. And I taught a weekly class in this auditorium. And anyway, then my husband and I decided, to separate, and Jerry asked me if I wanted to come live there, because he was closing it down for a while, and he wanted to know if I just wanted to come and sort of take care of the place, and still teach my Tai Chi. So I did,
Well, that
and
sounds like a nice flow from this
it
way of
was
being.
it
Yeah.
was amazing. And
Hmm.
there was another woman who lived there with us, Mo, and she was his radio show producer.
Hmm.
And so the three of us just lived there in this big space, and it was very sweet. It was a wonderful segue from my marriage. It was,
It's like a soul and adolescence or a soul beginning phase, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. And anyway, and my husband and I remained friends, and so it was
That's good.
it was really just a wonderful. They came over and hung out, and my daughter and my ex-husband, and then I guess after about a year of living there, maybe 2 years of living there, um, Jerry decided he was going to run for mayor of Oakland, and he brought in a bunch of people to work on the campaign, and Steve was one of those people who
Oh.
who came in. And at the time, and Steve, he was brought in to do research, and he's actually 15 years younger than I am, and so at first I had no clue that he was the man for me. As a matter of fact, I was always trying to fix him up with all these younger women around there, because I thought it was so much fun. He and I were like the fun ones, and we would always like do projects together, like
Oh, that sounds
plan the
like a good
parties.
way to
And
know
I know,
somebody. Yeah.
and I know. For 6 months we just kind of hung out and did projects together. And then one day he confessed to me that he was likely to stop trying to fix him up with all these other women because he was interested in me.
Aww.
so
How touching.
which was totally shocked me. But by that point, we had already really realized how closely our minds were aligned and how interested we were both in the same things, and had, through different, coming from different streams, we had come to very similar truths, about the way we felt about life. So anyway, and it's our conversations that really, was the glue to our life. And then
that's pretty essential, because it means you can grow together, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes. It's wonderful. It's way beyond anything I'd ever experienced in a relationship before, and definitely what I wanted. I mean, I'd had an inkling kind of that kind of a relationship, and I wanted a healthy relationship if I ever had one again. One that felt really healthy, and boy, this one does. Not to say that and over the 20 years there have been a lot of things that we've had to work through, but we have the tools. And so one of the things how Gratitude 24/7 came about was that we started 11 years ago going to Burning Man. Have you heard of Burning Man?
Oh, yes, I've never gone. Did you love it?
Okay, yes. Well, I was really scared to go. A lot of my younger students had been, and they were showing pictures of it, and it sounded horrible to me. It's out in the desert where it's really hot, and I was going through menopause at the time, and it's also very dusty, and I'm allergic to dust, but this turns out this is alkaline dust, and it's also there's everything. It's a city now of 70,000 people, so
wow.
Everything kind of goes. It's a place where you can walk around naked if you want to, or wear these outlandish costumes, or just be totally normal. And it's
or you can also perform,
radical,
right?
Oh yeah. It's based on that. There are 10 rules. I can't remember them all, but the most important are radical self-reliance, radical self-expression. Let's see. Well, I'll think of more, but it's based in a gift economy. So when you can't buy anything there or sell anything there, and don't wear any clothes that advertise anything. You come there to give, and
wow.
It's an art.
I didn't know that.
It's wonderful. It's an art festival, and people bring these most amazing sculptures and works of art that just are jaw-dropping. And most of them do it for free, and there's a few who are commissioned to bring art, but and then you can't buy anything there either except for ice and coffee. So anyway, it sounded terrible, but to me at first, I didn't realize all this stuff, But when you're in a gift economy, it puts out such a different energy, and that it's like you're just moving through love, and everybody feels like family. It's so remarkable. I've never experienced anything like that. And
wow, that's really an interesting comment. That if you're in a gifting economy, the energy is very different. I like thinking about that.
It's so different. It's mind blowing. It's literally everybody is just, their mind is blown by it. And I went there so afraid. I was afraid they were going to have to helicopter me out of there, But what happened actually is the moment I arrived, we arrived in the worst conditions. There was a total whiteout, and something came over me, and I just felt like, wow, I felt like I was at home and totally relaxed. And then every morning we would go to center camp for coffee and watch performers who were performing for free, of course. And my heart just broke open, and I would just, every morning I would just sit drinking my coffee and with tears rolling down my eyes and such, yeah, joy, yeah. So, needless to say, we've been, out of the last 15 years, we've been 11 times. But the reason I'm telling you all this is that Gratitude 24/7 was born out of that. After going a few times, we realized that we would like to gift something all year round rather than just that 1 week at Burning Man. So we thought, well, what is it that we have to gift, We thought, well, what if we were to gift our conversations? Because our conversations are for us to help us grow, but, we could gift them out if they help others. That would be great,
That's even the
So
best,
we decided, and I teach a Tai Chi class every morning we do a gratitude meditation, and I'm often say, imagine if you could be grateful 24 hours a day, So we thought, well, let's write posts, daily posts, and we'll call it Gratitude 24/7. So that's how that was born 8 years ago. It was born from our desire to gift every day. And so Steve and I both write the posts. We each write one or several, and then each one goes back and forth between us several times, editing them to make sure that it's exactly what we mean to say and true for us. And so
I love that.
anyway.
And it just is a way of taking, as you said, your conversations, which are wonderful, deep, and harmonious, in a growing pattern for everyone to share. That's community leadership, my friend.
Right.
So what's the and also Stephen has had quite a history since he was 16, going out and discovering a lot of his own depth. You've had your experiences finding your depth, and he's come at it from his as well, right?
Yeah, right. His mother, when he was 16, moved to India. And
that'll do it.
Yeah,
Talk about Burning Man, right?
Yeah, right. She moved to an ashram, and she wanted the rest of the family to come, but her husband was still working and didn't want to lose his retirement. And she just felt his calling, and she had to go. So she moved to India, and Steve would go over and visit her, and on one of these visits, he went on a sort of a spiritual journey with some other students in the school that his mother worked at in India, and kind of had some awakening experiences that put him definitely on the path, to exploration of his spiritual self.
I love that whole.
And
that story's great. So keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, he's done a lot of Vipassana type meditation, 10-day retreats, and
nice.
To add to his own daily meditation. So.
Nice. Do you two meditate together?
Yeah, we do. We meditate every day, and we and Tai Chi. We both do Tai Chi, and that's he helps me teach the class, and that's a form of meditation. And we do sitting meditation, and we offer for the last 10 years we've lived in a houseboat community, and
wonderful.
It's so wonderful living on the water, and we've offered meditation to the community every Thursday night, and that's been so sweet.
Aww.
Just to have a little sangha.
Oh, that's wonderful.
With our community. Yeah.
So with that incredible backlog, you're developing an app, or you have developed it, right? What can people expect?
We have developed it. What Jim, who is our neighbor in the houseboat community, I mentioned he knew about our Gratitude 24/7 and read them, and he's very technically oriented. He's designed apps and so he thought, well, why don't we all three team up and I'll build an app. And then he came up with the idea of having other people, other authors and other thought leaders, join us. And so there's channels on the app, on the Vibe app. So
Wow.
you can pick your favorite author, and you can change channels if you feel like it. And the method is each author puts out a daily message that comes into your app. So, at 8 o'clock in the morning, you'll hear a little ding, and that's the daily message. And then each message is condensed. It also has a condensed kernel. You have the main point in it. So you can program your app to ping you several times a day with just that little kernel, of the kernel of the message. It's sort of like an affirmation or a sankalpa or whatever you want to call it. And so that, and then each channel also offers meditation. So besides being just a meditation app, it's really what makes us a little different is that we offer daily guidance.
Mm-hmm.
And then also meditations, and then this little affirmation that comes in that you can program to come in many times a day to remind you. So often, you be in your busy life and you'll get that little ding and you'll look over at it, and it could be something reminding you of something that applies to what's going on in your life right then. So it helps you embody it or integrate it into your life.
Oh, sounds wonderful. So, what else is on it? Do you have, do you get classes on it? I'm new at the whole app thing, so you have to educate me and the listeners. Are there actually official classes, or is it just like what's up there is what we help ourselves to?
Well, it's let's see. An app is something that you buy in an app store,
Mm-hmm.
and you go to the Apple App Store, and you buy it. So if you were to buy this app, it's called The Vibe, and you'd put it in the search bar, and you would buy it for $2.99, and every day it's $2.99 a month, and what comes in every day is this message that you read, just like our Gratitude 24/7 that comes out. You read the message, but the Vibe gives you that extra sankalpa or affirmation that comes in that's programmed all during the day, that you can program to come in all during the day. So we also have courses that you can take, but at this, right now we don't have those in the app. This is all very new, so that's coming soon.
So when somebody comes on
access to a course.
Yeah, so somebody, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I did because I got excited.
Okay. Yeah, no problem, please.
If somebody comes on to learn something about a style of meditation, is there someone that they talk to? Is there any interaction verbally, is what I'm trying to get to? Or is it all written?
Not with us.
Okay.
Not with us. It's just an app. Let's see. To tell you the truth, I was never that familiar with apps either. This is one of my first experiences with apps too.
But we're learning. We're learning.
Other than art apps, I use art apps to play with my art. But let's see. There is a function where you can communicate with where you can have discussions in the community with the community. These are more questions for Jim because he's the app designer and developer, and he knows really well how to answer these questions.
But how did you choose the thought leaders that you put up there? Did all three of you get to work on that, or did you Was there any system you used to pick them?
Well, all three of us have done that, but basically, there's a man named Bill Gladstone who has Waterside Productions, and he was introduced to Jim through a friend of Jim's, and he has a list. He's I guess basically an agent for a list of authors like Barbara DeAngelis and Neil Donald Walsh and Eckhart Tolle and different people. So Jim, we decided to just ask some of those people. So far we've asked Neil Donald Walsh. He's accepted. Barbara DeAngelis and let's see.
So you're trying to get
We
people that
also
are
lived.
well known, yes? Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, definitely well known. And Jerry and Jim Polsky and Diane Cirincione happen to live across the dock from us. So
Oh, wonderful.
we asked them to join. Yeah, and they'll be joining in a month, I think it is. And then there's several other. So far we have 7 authors.
Oh, that's good. That's a good way
And
to start.
hopefully, yeah, it's a great start. And then we have counting on 10 by the end of November.
So do people sign on?
Um,
Do people sort of join a section of it, or do they just peruse?
well, no, when you sign up for it, generally, say um, one of Neil Donald Walsh's, he would put out to his community that he's on this app, and then he would invite people to join it, and they would most likely go to his channel, But while they're on, once they're part of the app, they can look around at different channels and see if they want to change, for a
Mm-hmm.
while.
Mm-hmm.
So you actually have access to all the authors. You can change authors at any time,
And you can explore it. How
Yeah,
how many people
right.
signed up for your gratitude 24/7?
Over the past 8 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I'm not exactly sure of the number right now. I know we're in 52 countries.
Oh,
Or last
wow.
time I looked, we were in 52 countries.
That's
But
quite a few, yeah.
I stopped looking at the stats a long time ago. I realized that that's not that I know there's we get a lot of feedback, a lot of people writing to us telling us, how much they appreciate them. So I just thought that's enough. I don't care exactly the number. I'm not attached to the number,
But
but I do
it's
know,
interesting because you wanted to gift the world, and you're actually doing that. This is really an amazing gift, isn't it?
we we are. Yes, I did. I wanted to give to the world, and I would when I no, this was years ago when I looked at our stats that and saw we were in 52 countries, and that's maybe 5 in one country. I'm not. It's not like we're
It doesn't
we
matter
have
because
millions
you
in each
5 in
country.
one
Yeah,
country are going to talk about
yeah,
it, and it changes. Things
yeah.
change all the
So
time.
I was stunned when I saw that.
And I guess
So
that
we really
having
are.
an app like this would probably have much easier circulation than, say, for example, radio, right?
I don't know. I imagine. I know it is sort of the new wave,
Yeah.
apps. So, and the iPhone is all done on the iPhone. Everything's on the phone. So
No, I just think it's really
that and
exciting
Android.
because to me it means that we have like a, what would you call it, a healing vibration that's going out and around all the time. I like that a lot.
Oh God, there's no question. I mean, we are so close to one another now.
Hmm.
You know, definitely
And we can
the
really
the
feel it,
internet.
right?
Yeah, yeah. I think so.
So where are you going to take it from
Yep.
here? You've just started. You just opened the app a year ago.
No, it's only been a matter of months that it's actually been in the App Store,
Oh,
and
okay.
so yeah, it's um, It's just brand new and very exciting.
And
And
what?
it's exciting to be a part of these other of the other authors too. You know.
Oh, I think it's wonderful. It's like there's
Yeah.
so much more collaboration going on. For a while, it was like everybody had stardom, and now it's more like a collaborative community. I guess like your Burning Man,
Right.
you know.
Well, in this field, it's all about cooperation, not competition. You know, because the main objective is helping to raise the consciousness of the planet, because that helps everybody.
Oh
And
boy.
so, you know, there are so many ways that can, you know, one person's voice might not resonate with somebody where another person can say the same thing and they hear it. So
Hmm.
we're all about, um, just uniting to help put the message out.
Yeah, I love it. So, what role did neurochemistry play? And that's a kind of an offside kind of question. Did neurochemistry
Hmm.
play a big role in the development of this app?
Well, um, yes, it did. It did, especially in you know, Jim, who comes from a more scientific place. He did a lot of research while he was developing the app on how aligned neurochemistry is with, say, an intuitive mind. You know, what's and can you actually track what's going on in the mind? And
Brain scan.
um, yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, what we're finding through neurochemistry is that what people are discovering through meditation and physics, you know, are the same thing. They're coming through just through science and meditation are meeting in the middle and coming up with the same discoveries.
Well, I think I'm going to make up this, but I do believe it's possible that is that many people moving into more and more consciousness, it becomes it's kind of not infected, but people pass it on. And then I think we can raise the consciousness of the whole species. That's what I like to think. So I'm into,
Absolutely,
yeah, so we
that's
are
our job.
affecting the brain, and we're affecting the brain, aren't we? I mean, our brain
Oh
potential.
yeah, oh absolutely. Meditation, they've found, has definitely affects the brain in a positive way.
Hmm.
Expands your awareness. It has a chemical effect on the brain.
And it certainly raises our ability to find peace in war-torn countries and so on, doesn't
Yeah, well, yep.
it? Well, that's pretty
That's the goal.
significant. Yeah. I mean, this is.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think this is the way to peace. I mean, we have to change the consciousness of each person on the planet, because even one person suffering is going to, you know, affects everybody else. We our own little vibration that we put out is part of the collective vibration, and so the way that the world is because of this whole because of the whole, you know, my what how I'm feeling affects everybody around me.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, I think
So
it's interesting because the brain is loaded, or we are loaded with old programs that we keep rerunning them. And I keep praying that a lot of this kind of work, like your app, for example, is really
mhm,
pushing our brains out beyond that so we don't have to keep running these old programs. Does that make
right.
sense?
Well, that's one of our main messages, is that your thoughts create your experience of life, and what creates, you know, what makes you think the type of thoughts you think. The thoughts aren't in your head; they're out there, and you attract certain thoughts based on your vibration. You know, based on your conditioning. And so, you know, one person might just be prone to negativity, where another person is very positive, and that's a result of how they've grown up. The conditioning and programming they've gotten from their parents and other authority figures.
Mhm.
And once you realize that this thought isn't necessarily true, and probably isn't true, then it's easier to drop it. No thoughts belong to us. And it's not, our thoughts aren't who we are, but they do create our experience in life. So
Yeah. And they can
when
become
you,
who
when
we
you,
are if we're not vigilant, right?
well, if you, yeah, they are who you are if you don't know that they're not who you are. In other words, you aren't your thoughts, but your thoughts definitely create your experience in life. And when you realize that, you can think, oh, wow, does this thought serve me? And if it doesn't serve me, then we all have the power to change that thought rather than to think something negatively about something that's happened to us. We can say, hey, how is this for me? And look for a way in which it can serve us. And you'll always find it.
Find some
In
kind
my
of use of
experience,
it. Yeah, that's true.
absolutely. Everything that the most, what I would call the most horrible things that have happened in my life also brought my biggest gifts.
Exactly.
Like I was saying about ending my marriage, it actually opened up an enormously different and better world for me, even though, and my husband's still in my life. So I didn't even have to, we just changed. We just changed our roles.
Yeah, and it's a really good example of how when you let go, you can grow. It's not about just possession and ownership, which a lot of people's marriages
Right.
are, really, huh? Well,
Right.
I'm
Right. Yeah.
excited. So, what are you going to do after this? Are you going to see, I don't know enough about apps, but I'm going, would you just use this app and then add other functions to it, or will you create another kind of app? Or what's the plan here, Jarl?
Well, I would say that we're probably going to expand this one, and boy,
There's
who
lots of
knows
room,
what?
eh?
Yeah, who knows what's coming next? But I'm excited to see uh, what's next, and I'm sure it's going to be good. My motto is the best is yet to come.
And you're still teaching Tai Chi, are you?
Oh yeah, Tai Chi and Qigong.
Ah, I'm very
Yeah,
excited about
yeah,
Qigong because I'm older than you are. I'm sure I'm older than everyone, but just starting
I
it,
got it.
just starting it now, I find there's such not hope for my brain because that sounds pathetic, but there's this possibility of expanding and improving
Oh,
brain capacity.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I want to be
Well,
like
it
these
will
85
expand
year
your
old.
awareness.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, me too. It will definitely expand your awareness. I mean, it's a wonderful practice. Do it. You have to do it every day,
Hmm.
and for to get the most benefit out of it. But daily practice of qigong, wow, it's healing on so many levels, and it's very expansive in terms of the consciousness.
Yeah,
So,
I'm loving it because it isn't really you don't puff and pant and whine about all the pain and all that stuff. I don't get that, but I really love the energy
no,
moving through. Wow,
yes,
you're
and
really
yeah.
interesting. I mean, just talking to you about yourself, and we haven't even got to the app. Is that you're a very interesting person and a great contributor to this
Oh,
planet right now.
well, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you. Well, I mean, I think I've told you, um, maybe I didn't explain it very well, but I have, the app, I have talked about all I know about the app, and that is that it's a wonderful method of, that's different in that you get the guidance and the meditation and the daily reminder. I mean, the hourly reminders if you choose, too.
hmm I
So
like
you're
that a
just going to
lot.
have to check it out.
I'm gonna check it out. And I'm just excited that you're doing that. It's just like, oh, okay, so it's always in my little phone here. And even if it's only
Yes.
thought and I don't get a chance to practice something, it'll still have the impact. Good for you and good for
Yes.
your team there. And I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
your time and your patience with all the difficulty I had with technology at the beginning.
Oh, I understand that for sure.
And your last name is Forsman, so you're Jarl. What's Jarl from? That's an interesting name.
It is an interesting name. My grandfather was named after an ancient Swedish king. He was Swedish, and the king was Birger Jarl, and so he was named Birger Jarl. He would never went by that name. But then when my parents, before I was born, they were sure I was a boy because they had girls already and hoping for a boy, so they were going to name me Jarl. And when I came out a girl, they just decided to change the pronunciation to Jarl.
Oh.
But I was this year at Burning Man. I was talking to a man from Sweden because people come from all over the world, and I was just happened to be sitting in a little cafe talking to this man from Sweden, and when he asked me my name, he just died laughing. He said that it's like having the name Bruce or something, some like really,
really
a
masculine.
real man's name. Yeah, nothing that could even be.
Oh, that's funny.
So
Well, you
it's
have
not
to be
like
Swedish
that,
to think that, because I just thought, well, that's kind of pretty. That's what I
That's
thought.
what I told him. I said, well, I lived my whole life and nobody's ever laughed that hard about it. But I did talk to another woman. He said I should go to Sweden and it would just blow people's minds.
Oh, that would be fun. So
anyway.
before we say goodbye to
Mm-hmm.
Jarl Forsman, do tell people again how to get on to this app or to put that app into their phone. I guess that's the deal.
Okay, go to the Apple Store and buy the app, or search for the app. Search for the app, and or go online theapp.me, and it'll pop up.
And it's
And
called
you can purchase it for $2.99.
It's called Vibe, Vibe, right?
It's called The Vibe.
The Vibe. Well, excellent. I know it's just a really wonderful thing. Congratulations to all of you for creating it, and we'll certainly practice with it. And thank you for
So
being,
thank you so much.
oh, it's my pleasure. And thank you for being a paradigm shifter, making a difference on the planet and joining in others who do. You're joining people up, is what you're doing, right?
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yep, it's
Jarl.
my pleasure.
Many,
Thanks so much.
many
It's been
blessings.
wonderful.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.